What is going on, everyone? Thanks for joining us on another episode of Extreme Health Radio. Super pumped to be here with you guys. Oh my gosh, I have so much to share, so much that I've been learning about lately, and so much I've been applying into my own life that, man, I feel so compelled to do a podcast about all these different things. You know, I don't know about you. Do you ever feel like this where you're just looking for something new, some new concept or some new idea that's going to blow your mind? I'm always looking for something like that. It could be health related. It doesn't even have to be health related. I'm into so many different things, so I'm really just interested in so many different subject matters. By the way, if you guys want to watch all the documentaries that I sort of vet out, I watch documentaries like crazy. And I usually watch them when I'm jumping on my rebounder or my sauna or laying on our IMRS mat in the evening. And so if you guys want to check those out, I'll put a link to it. It's justinstellman.com/documentaries. And you can keep in track in real time what I'm watching and stuff. And we've had a lot of people email in and asking, what documentaries I watch and that kind of stuff. So I watch a ton. And I usually watch them at 1.5 speed. So that I can get through more content. I do the same thing with podcasts as well. When I'm working out outside in the sun, I listen to stuff at 1.5 speed because there's just so much material to get through, and I just want to be able to get through it and learn as much as I possibly can so that I can grow and open my mind and start learning more and applying more and doing better. So if you guys want to follow along the documentaries I watch, every day I add a couple new ones, or if a couple days goes by, that's probably because I either didn't do my sauna that day or I watched something that I didn't think was very good. So I put all of the documentaries I like at justinstellman.com/documentaries, and I update them every single day. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes for this show, which is extremehealthradio.com/460. And like I was saying before, I'm really the type of person that I just love learning ideas. I love learning new concepts that shatter my worldview. I really love challenging and questioning everything that I'm come in contact with, because I love just discovering new things. Life becomes an adventure that way. There's nothing more demotivating to me than someone who has everything figured out and life is the way it is. There's nothing more to learn. This is my worldview. I'm going to stay there, and there's nothing more I can do or say about it. This is the way the world works. Nothing is more demotivating than that to me. I mean, that feels like I'm back at school, So I just love learning new things. And I've been learning something that I think is going to fundamentally change the way you live and the way you think about health. I've been learning about this the last few years, but I've really been diving deep over the past probably 6 months, I'd say. And this is a fundamental game changer in terms of health, because I think in health, we have it all backwards. We're focused on the biological, physical stuff that's going on with health, but we're not focused on something that I've been discovering lately I think is going to change your world. So what is it? What have I been learning? So I've been learning about light and how frequencies of light affect our biology. Now, is it possible that food, diet, nutrition, detoxification, substances that we take into our body are not nearly as important or as powerful or as impactful on the human body as light? Is food basically a supplement for light? Is food basically the physical manifestation of photosynthesis, of the interaction between physical protons and electrons that make up something physical that we consume that interacts with our biology, which is a being of light? Is it possible that we really need light first? What did God say in the Bible? Let there be light, right? So light must have existed even so far back as in the Bible, if that's true, if that story of Genesis is true. Maybe it's not, but regardless, we are photonic beings. We're beings of light, and light is how we get our food. And when we have a really damaging and inappropriate relationship with light, then we start seeing all of the diseases. So some people have been going around saying lately that light, blue light, is the number one issue in our health today. It's the number one thing. It's the most important problem to solve, blue light, exposure to blue light. So I've got a ton of studies I want to share with you. I want to share with you some of my experiences and things I've been learning with regards to blue light. So it's just fascinating. It's so fascinating when you start looking at light. Because, you know, when I first looked at this, I thought, oh, okay, interesting. You know, it's just one of many things. It's not that big a deal and blah, blah, blah. But the more you dive into this creepy world of what blue light does and the absence of red light, man, it's really been fundamentally changing how I live. So, you know, many of you guys know that I'm a big fan of working out. I love to lift weights. I mean, I don't love to lift weights, but it's challenging. I kind of like it in a way. Most of the time I don't, but I really enjoy what that does for me. And I love the fact that lifting weights allows you to be in the moment with something because you got to focus and concentrate. So you're not thinking about your problems. So I love that. And I love the satisfaction you get by forcing your body to do something difficult. And I think that's lost in our culture. And we have all this energy inside of our bodies that we don't know what to do with. And so that manifests itself in road rage and frustrations with people and arguments and things. But when you lift a lot of weight, you're doing a heavy deadlift or a heavy squat, or if you're, you know, doing something like kickboxing or something where you're getting aggression out, that energy gets a chance to is basically taking the lid off the pot so it doesn't boil over. And so, I think it's critical to work out. But anyway, I've been working out since I was 19 years old. I'm 42 now. And I've been working out consistently like for my whole life, basically. But I've always been working out in a gym under blue light and with all kinds of, you know, with a lack of clothes on. So I, you know, wear a tank top and shorts and stuff. So I'm exposing all my skin to blue light. So that's causing that's a real problem, exposing your skin to all of that blue light frequencies in the daytime. So not only that, but we're indoors 93% of the time. We're inside. And when we're inside, we're looking at computer screens, we're looking at cell phones, we're looking at all kinds of stuff like that. So these things are really, really much more damaging than I think you could ever even know. And I don't even think we know everything about what's going on with blue light yet. And I've got a bunch of studies I'll put in the show notes if you guys want to learn more about what blue light does to you. But so blue light, these devices that we're using have way too much blue light, way too bright of blue light, and they're absent of purple and red light, which mitigate the blue. And so when we have too much blue light, everyone knows it suppresses melatonin production, which is a hormone. So people think, oh, melatonin is for sleep. And I think that we get into this reductionist idea in our society and our culture because everything is sort of reduced down and we fail to look at the body as a whole system or even concepts or ideas as a whole system, right? The bigger picture of making connections. And so what happens is that we think, oh, melatonin for sleep production. Melatonin is what makes us tired. We think that's all it does. But what we don't realize, it's like vitamin C has thousands of different chemical processes going on inside the body. Same with vitamin D3. My goodness, it affects over 3,000 different chemical reactions in the body. D3 does, as well as vitamin C. So all of these things have an impact on our body, on our cells, on our photons, on our electrons inside of us. So melatonin doesn't just work on sleep, but it's one of the main hormones that prevents cancer. So why is it that all these people are coming down with cancer? How many times are you guys seeing, and I'm seeing people in our culture, young people being diagnosed with cancer? Look at people like Steve Jobs, who was, you know, allegedly took care of his health. I don't think he did it the right way. He was a raw vegan, ate lots of fruit, which is going to be very, very damaging for someone exposed to the amount of blue light he was exposed to. And so that's creating a circadian mismatch with him and his physiology. And so, you know, melatonin's huge. It's one of the number one hormones that prevents cancer. It also has a effect on diabetes and depression and obviously sleep. So you can go on down the list of learning what melatonin does to the body. So, but blue light doesn't just lower melatonin levels, which it does, and that's one of the main issues with it, but it also destroys DHA in the body. And DHA, I've been learning about DHA lately from our buddy Matt Blackburn over at MitoLife, and he's got this incredible product, and I've been learning so much from him. But DHA is critical for brain and nervous system health. This is what Kate is on for her pregnancy. It helps build cellular tissue and the cellular matrix of the body. It's incredible for helping to protect us from non-native EMF. And basically what happens with DHA is it helps to create light in the body. It transports light to the mitochondria, which turns that into energy. And then the mitochondria becomes light again. So it goes through these different phases. And DHA is critical, and DHA just gets destroyed by too much blue light. So, man, this whole blue light thing, I'm telling you, if you do one thing this year in 2018, take some of the recommendations I'm going to give you at the end for using light effectively and learning how to live with it, because we have these things in our society, that are just, they're good, but they're bad as well. And so we have to understand what they're doing to us and how to live with them. So it's the same way like we promote the Fender Shield, which we have, and we love those things. And we've interviewed the founder of that. So we started selling them, and they're available in our store. But these things protect the electromagnetic field coming off of cell phones and iPads and laptops. And, so we have that to protect from the radiation from these things. So it's really, really important if we are going to be living an unnatural lifestyle. It's super, super important to do kind of what Daniel Vitalis does with his rewilding and bringing some of those wild concepts of man back into our homes if we're going to be inside. And also some of the biohacking things that some people are doing. So it's really important to mitigate a lot of these things. And, once you do this, it's really, really quite simple. Once you really start getting into this kind of stuff, a lot of times it's like there's, products around, different ways to mitigate this stuff. And they're usually one-time products. Whereas with food and supplements, these are things that you take ongoing usually. So it's really critical to, I think, invest in your home, invest in your health. That's why we have the Defender Shield. We mitigate this stuff. So I can't stress enough that we need to really understand that we are beings of light. First and foremost, we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And these photons and electrons and neutrons and protons inside of our body is what makes up the physical mass that's us. But the underlying energy, the essence of who we are is light. It's a spiritual being. And when we start realizing that, man, light is much more powerful, it has a much more powerful effect on our physiology and our biology than we would ever know, then we start understanding that, man, if we want to upgrade our corporeal body, our physical matrix of our cells, and become the strongest version of ourselves, like Elliot Hulse talks about on his YouTube channel, then we must understand how to use technology and not just go, hog wild and just take the first thing that we do or that gets presented to us and just use it without any recourse. Like if you read, I don't know if you guys have ever checked out, but check it out online. You could read the inserts that comes with cell phones, and they tell you, Apple will tell you right in their own literature to not put this, within an inch of your body. Yet you'll see women carrying them right in their breasts, right in their bras, right on top of their breasts. I mean, it's just insane. So somehow we've been unable to put the big pictures together. Our synapses in our brain aren't firing, so we can't make connections, so we don't understand the bigger picture. Because we have to realize, too, that these companies are about profit. And there's nothing wrong with making a profit, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But first and foremost, they're about profit. So, they may or may not be trying to do some of this stuff. A lot of conspiracy theory kind of people will, they'll kind of, say that they're out to get us and that kind of thing. But it doesn't really matter what their intentions are. First and foremost, what do we know? Well, we know their intention is to make money, and that comes first and foremost as far as their ethic goes, right? So if there are studies that come out showing the dangers of blue light, like there have been, so Apple's kind of released some software that allows you to lower the blue light on their screens, and so that's what you would expect them to do, but a lot of times they don't. So we cannot take companies, doctors, lawyers, and all these types of people, we can't take them at their word because, there's a financial interest involved. And it's really hard in today's culture to not have that, right? So we got to find and seek out and trust the right people and do our best with our own intuition. And that's sort of what DHA allows your body to do, is it allows your body to calm down your nervous system, calms down your brain, and allows you to have a nootropic effect so that you can put together these synapses and you can start thinking clearly and reducing brain fog that's being caused by this 5G network that's being rolled out, or this non-native EMF we're living in a sea of this stuff that's blocked between the crust of the earth and the ionosphere, and it just lives, and we live and breathe in this toxic soup. And so in order to make our way out of that, we need to understand and utilize new technologies that are helping us to mitigate the damaging effects of existing technologies. So all that said, man, so how do you protect yourself from blue light? So before I get into that, I want to just tell you a couple other things about light. Blue light damages the tissues in the eyes, and it damages your ability to create melatonin, like I mentioned before. So it's really, really important. The biggest thing you can do this year in 2018 is learn how to work with light, first and foremost, above food. Now, I'm not saying food and supplements and detoxification and diet and nutrition isn't important. I'm saying it's not as important as getting the lighting understood and getting the lighting mitigated so that you can live with light and not have it damage and age you prematurely, because that's what blue light does as well, is it rapidly ages the tissues. And it dehydrates the cell as well. I mean, there's so many things I'm probably not even bringing up that blue light does. It dehydrates the body, and it dehydrates the melatonin levels. It dehydrates the mitochondria, which prevents, photons and electrons from transporting across the membranes. I mean, it's just insane. So what do we do with blue light? All right. So what are some of the things that I do? Well, when I first learned about this, I got a program called Flux, and you can get it at justgetflux.com. You know what? Let me make a little note of this, because I mentioned, let's see. Let's take a look here. So I got a program called Just Get Flux. That was good for a time. But what I quickly realized is that it does not lower the light, the Kelvin that they call it, of light low enough. And it doesn't allow you to have as much control. It doesn't have the flicker rate reduction that this new program that I found does. So although it's good, it's a good start and it's free. What I would recommend is a company called Iris, IRIS. Now that's a free program. Let me make a note of it here. IRIS, iristech.io. I'll put Iris. So I'll put all of these links too in the show notes, which is extremehealthradio.com/ let me make sure I get this correctly. I think it's 560. Yep, I was right. 560. So just remember 560, extremehealthradio.com /560, and I'll put the show notes there. But so Iris is another company that we have learned about recently. And what does Oprah say? When you know better, you do better. When you learn more, you get to know things. And when you get to know things, you get to do things that are better. So that's kind of the whole idea of what we do. If we find a particular product that's better than something we have in our store, we swap it out. And so there's always really innovative new things coming along. So Iris is a program that you can mitigate and lower all of the blue light. So if you guys follow us on Instagram, I've been posting some of the stuff on there, but you can turn the Kelvin, the blue, all the way down. So it's essentially orange. And then what I like about it too is that you can use manual settings and lower the brightness, because it's not just the frequency, but it's also the brightness that we're exposed to. And what a lot of people don't realize, that when you are inside at night, your cells have photoreceptors on them. your cells are constantly looking out, kind of like a cell tower, kind of like a cell phone. When you turn a cell phone on, it looks for the wireless towers. That's what your body's always doing to its environment. It's always sending out these signals to our environment to figure out where we are. So if it's night, it's going to start producing melatonin. It should. But if you're walking around in your house at night, and the light is hitting your skin, it's telling your body that it's not nighttime and it's not time to produce melatonin. And melatonin needs to be in high levels at night to help repair the body and to reduce the amount of cancer cells and to boost the immune system. So when you are walking around inside or walking under street lamps at night in a grocery store, I would recommend wearing long sleeves and long pants to protect your skin as much as you can from that kind of light. Now, it sounds crazy, but when you start understanding the biology and the science behind all this stuff, it really starts making a lot of sense. And just from a purely natural way of living, it makes total sense, right? Because we were meant to live outside. We weren't meant to spend 93% of our time indoors. It doesn't make any sense. So the way I look at it is, okay, let's say you're living off the land and you don't have a house. Maybe you have a little hut in the forest. And you're living in the rainforest, or you're living in a forest and you've got your own kind of little hut built, and you go out and you hunt your food, and you make a fire at night, and you go to sleep, and relatively early on in the night. That would be the most natural way of living. Okay, so take that sort of construct in your mind and just apply whatever you're doing in our modern world to that. So would we be sitting for 8 hours a day if we're living in the wilderness? Well, no, we'd be moving. We might sit for 20, 30 minutes, get up, move around, but we wouldn't sit for 8 hours a day. And especially we wouldn't sit for 4 hours at a time or 2 hours at a time, all in one setting and not move. That's completely unnatural. Would we be exposed to light at night? No, not at all. We'd be exposed to the light of a fire probably, which has biophotons in it, not just photons, but biophotons. So red light from a fire is much more bioavailable to the body, much more beneficial than any red light therapy device you could ever get. And I love red light therapy devices, but they don't have biophotons. They have photons. And so being exposed to unnatural amounts of white and blue light at night wouldn't happen out there. We wouldn't be exposed to Wi-Fi and non-native EMF and electrical frequencies, this dirty electricity, which is causing so many problems. A lot of people are showing now in studies that dirty electricity in our walls that resonates at 60 hertz frequency, our mitochondria resonate at 100 hertz frequency. And this 60 hertz in our walls is causing an effect on our blood sugar. So is there a connection between that and diabetes and our ability to not be able to produce insulin? And we get these swings of blood sugar that are causing our cravings, our bacteria to change, and maybe for us to have cravings for more bad food, which causes us to become sicker. Who knows? I mean, there's a reason why Europe doesn't use the 60 hertz. So there's so many things that are unnatural in our life. Not just those things. Our environment, our where we live and the frequencies and that, but we're disconnected from the earth as well. So the grounding, the magnetic charge that we get, the negative ions that we get from the earth is really super critical and important, especially if you live in an area like you live in an apartment complex or you live in a house with Wi-Fi. The number one way to, in my mind, to block radiation while you're sleeping, EMF, is through the Magnetico mattress pad. Those are available in our store if you want to learn more about those. But it's the Magnetico that helps bathe our body in a field of magnetism that protects us from non-native EMF. And grounding helps do that too. So all of these things that we are dealing with in our modern world, it's just not natural. I'll put a link to the Magnetico in our store if you guys want to check it out. But, so one of the things that I've been doing is, I've been working out a lot, and I love working out for a lot of different reasons. Namely, probably the main reason is that it gives me an excuse to get outside and get grounded. So really what I'm after is I'm really after the fresh air, the Schumann resonance that bathes the earth from the crust and the mantle of the earth into the ionosphere. the Schumann resonance, it's the magnetic pulse of the earth, the grounding of the earth coming up through my bare feet, the sunshine that's helping to heal my body while I work out. So, and the ability to listen to podcasts and be more encouraged and inspired and learn new things. But I also like how working out allows you to sort of live in the moment, right? When you're pushing 200-300 pounds on a bench press, you're not thinking about your bills. You're not thinking about your problems. And that's one of the things I like about working out. And in the same way as having fun, like surfing a big wave, for example, when you drop in on a 10-foot set, man, all you're concerned about is making that drop and not drowning. And so that's one of the things that I think that we need to do more of. And that's one of the reasons why I like working out, is that it puts me in the moment. It allows me to focus on the task at hand. The other benefit I like of it too, of working out, is that it is incredible for self-esteem and self-motivation and self-care and having a healthy respect and love for yourself, because it's in the times that we do things that we don't want to do that we develop character and we develop a sense of who we are. And, most of the time I go out to work out, like I'm going to work out after this. I don't want to go do it. But when you force yourself to do things, you become a person of your word. You become someone who is strong in their character. You do things that you say you're going to do, and you don't skip out on your promises to yourself. And all of these things are really, really critical in building the self-care and the self-love that you have to have if you want to stay healthy. And you have to have a certain amount of that. Not being egotistical or, John Galt and Ayn Rand's, The Fountainhead or Atlas Shrugged, but just being someone who loves themselves and sees themselves as a worthy being here on the planet Earth. And by doing something every single week that forces you to have a discipline to keep your word to yourself is really powerful. And so that's another reason why I work out. And I like having the physical benefits of it as well. Strong body, flexible body. And having that body also helps me to, do the other things I like surfing and hiking and stuff like that. So, and being strong and living a long time and being here a long time with Kate and all of that. So, there's so many different benefits, to working out that I love. But for many, many years, what I was doing was working out under blue light inside a gym. So what I would recommend is there a way for you to figure out a way to work out outside? And now I know that most of the time it's not going to be possible, but if you do have a backyard or a patio, I would highly recommend, if you care about your health more than your physique, which most people that go to a gym, it's the opposite of that, right? So I'd recommend buying some weights. Like I got those Power Block dumbbells. I'll put a link to those if you want. Power Block. I got some of those. And they go up to 90 pounds. You can get them up to 120 pounds. I got a weight bench. I bring it outside in the backyard, and I do, a long workout outside. Is it as good as a gym? No way. Not even close. But am I healthier as a result? Totally. Completely. Much, much healthier as a result of working out under the sun and getting the near infrared, the far infrared, all of the full spectrum rays of light, bathing my body in that. So that is so, so important. So one of the things I love is working out outside. I get to listen to a podcast, I get to get fresh air, I get to be grounded to the earth, I get to get full spectrum sunlight, I get the physical benefits of working out. It's been one of the best things I've ever done. And so spending more time outside. Another thing I would highly recommend you do is waking up and looking around 15 to 20 degrees. I like to go about 20 degrees away from the sun when the sun rises in the morning, wherever you are. So that means that we're going to be getting up at different times every day. But looking at the sun, that helps your body. It's sort of like, how the idea of people that can't eat a salad, one of the ways to mitigate that is to start drinking green juice. So it helps to prepare the body to be able to create the necessary environment in the gut to be able to break down a salad. So if you want to start eating a salad, start drinking green juice, and then your body will be more able to digest a salad because it knows it's come in contact with those substances before, and it understands how to break it down. And so the same way with the sun, if you don't want to burn, look towards the sun, not at the sun, but towards the sun on sunrise. and that helps to create a body that won't burn as easily. So that's really, really important thing to do. So basically it's getting outside every single day. So what happens is our bodies have a low dopamine state, and a low dopamine state causes, our lowered mood, depression. It causes low oscillations of the electrons in our body. So our electrical state is compromised. It causes depression, a lack of energy. And so when the body is low in dopamine, it doesn't have the necessary voltage to be able to deal with the invisible processes that disease happens in. So diseases is basically an invisible process. We can only sort of see the physical manifestations through blood tests and numbers and cancer markers and tumor sizes and all these types of things. But the actual disease itself is an invisible process that we know nothing about. So that's why we are much more electrical. We're much more photonic. We're much more spiritual than we think. And so by having lower dopamine levels, what does that cause? It causes our body to be a low electrical state, a low voltage state, a low genetic or electrical potential, and depression, lowered mood, and that sets up a state where our body starts producing these tumors and these types of things like this. And it also creates in us a desire to get a dopamine hit. So what does that cause? Well, we want to go back to our phones and see if we got a new email or see if we got a new notification of something. So we go back to our phones and then we look into that screen, and that lowers dopamine. So it becomes this whole cyclical process that causes our bodies to literally become degened. That's why you're seeing genetic diseases or degenerative diseases. Our genes are literally becoming degened. They're becoming decoupled. And so it's this low electrical state and low voltage of the body that's causing all of this. And then we want to restore that. So we go look at our phone and our computer, and that causes the snowball effect that just continues until we die. And so we're designed to be addicted to dopamine, right? To get those endorphins and get that rush. Being outside in the sun raises dopamine levels. So it's designed to make you addicted to it. So what I say is to go outside more, spend as much time every single day outside with no shoes on the bare earth, on stone or rock or grass or gravel or dirt or whatever. And stand out there on your bare feet with no sunglasses on. You don't have to look at the sun, with as much skin exposed as you possibly can. Now, if you can, go in your backyard and nude sunbathe. That is, I used to make fun of people. There's a beach down here locally where people nude sunbathe. I never really figured it out. But now I'm starting to realize, man, getting sunlight on these areas of the body that are specifically kept away from the sun is so powerful. That's why a lot of people are using now a lot of guys are using red light on their testicles. And that's something that I've been doing. And you can expose your testicles to red light in the evening or in the daytime, and it has a powerful effect on your hormonal levels. And women can do this too on their vagina or on their breasts. You can do this. If you don't have a backyard where you can do this, or you can't get out in the sun and get nude, there's a brand of products called Kiniki, Kiniki, and I think they're out of Finland or something. But I'll put a link to them, and we have no financial connection with them. But that allows, I think, 80% of the spectrum of the light to penetrate through their shorts. So they have swimsuits. The shorts for guys are really kind of cheesy looking, but the women, you can just wear it. It's like a bikini, so it looks just totally normal. But the guy looks more like kind of biker shorts or whatever. But if you're going to be outside in your backyard, who cares? So no one else is going to see you. So these are things that are so simple and so fundamental, is learning how to harness and use light and mitigate the damaging effects of light. So, man, this is huge. I'm just looking here at some other studies of blue light and macular degeneration and increase in blindness in people. I mean, this is crazy. If you go back, 100,000 years, where was our first sort of circadian mismatch where we got disconnected from our environment? What was that? Well, it was wearing clothes, right? But what happens to a tree if you put a tarp over it? Is it going to live? True, a tree is, uses primarily photosynthesis, and we have the ability to walk on land and to get our source, our food and what am I trying to say? Nutrition elsewhere other than being stuck to the earth. But it's the same way, wearing clothes and blocking this light from getting and hitting our bodies is, man, it's powerful, this stuff. And so I highly recommend getting outside in full spectrum light. If you can, get up in the morning and look towards the sun, not at the sun, because you don't want to ruin your eyes, but look towards the sun around 15, 30 degrees off in the distance and get that, being grounded to the earth, and get that first spectrum of blue, purple, and red in the morning hours. And that's going to help set your hormonal levels, your metabolism for the day. It's going to have a profound effect on you. And then get out as much as you can, as often as you can in the daytime. If you have a break at work, go outside and just stand 10 minutes outside. Even if you can't ground yourself, at least get some skin exposed to the light, at least take your sunglasses off and then go back to work. So, these things are so simple. Why is it that we have to teach each other how to live a normal life? It just does not make any sense. So crazy. We're so disconnected from the way we're supposed to be living that we actually have to do a podcast telling people how to go outside. It's really bizarre, isn't it? Man, oh man. So right now I use this program called Iris on my computer, and I have the lumen and the Kelvin of the blue light restricted in the daytime. So if you're working inside, like most people are, looking at screens, driving cars, whatever, I highly recommend wearing glasses during the day. So in the evening, what you want to do is you want to start swapping out. I'm going to do a whole thing on this in our academy, by the way. So, so stay tuned for that. If you guys want to join the academy, it's available at the top of our website, and it's where we go deeper into this stuff. But so I'm going to do a whole thing on this. So what we need to do is the best thing that we could do is not turn any lights on. Okay. That's optimal, because there's levels to all of this stuff, right? What's the most natural? When the sun goes down, what do we got? About a half hour, maybe 45 minutes of twilight, and then it becomes completely black. And then we probably have the most natural thing would be to go to sleep around 2 hours after that. But what modern technology does in the, creating light is that we're able to stay up till midnight, right? So we have to, if we're going to do these things, we have to mitigate those effects. So the most ideal situation is to not turn any lights on at all. That is probably not going to happen for most people, right? If you look at the cancer rates, I was doing this the other day, the diseases of cancer, and correlate that to 1879 when Edison created the light bulb, and then you start going into electricity as a result of that from 1880s all the way up until now. It's a slow, steady rise of cancers because we're being electrified. We're living in this bizarre environment where we're being exposed to all this non-native radiation that's destroying our cells, destroying that invisible part of ourselves. So what you want to do is, if you can't turn any lights off, the next best thing are two different things. One is salt lamps, and the other is an actual fireplace. So those are the two best sources of light, the most natural. If those aren't a possibility for you, the next step is to get orange or incandescent bulbs. You can get these things from Amazon. A lot of times they're called party lights. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see that we have them in our house. And avoid any lights also that have dimmer switches, because those produce huge magnetic fields. So you want to avoid those. If you have dimmer switches in your house, you want to get those replaced. So what I recommend is installing blue not blue blocking, but I should say orange bulbs in your house. Now that could be a source of contention, right? Most women and most men, if they want to have people over, it's weird having all this orange light. But what you could do is buy extra bulbs, and then if you know you're going to have a party of people coming over, just swap them out for regular bulbs, maybe incandescent bulbs, and then put the orange ones in after everyone leaves. That's what we do. So, super, super important. So, and beyond that, what I highly recommend is investing in as many different pairs and styles and brands of glasses that can block these lights. So, like, for example, you don't want to wear your orange glasses out in the daylight while you're driving. You don't want to do that because that light is super, super important to get into your eyes. That's the natural light of the sun. But what I do is I wear these glasses that are yellow, have a yellow tint, and they block the blue, but they don't block the other frequencies, so you don't get tired. So what happens is when you start wearing these orange glasses regularly, you'll start noticing that you're super tired. You get tired very quick. You fall asleep quick. You stay asleep longer. You wake up less. I mean, the effects that it has on your health is just unbelievable. And as a result of getting a good sleep, then your body's able to heal, produce hormones, to regenerate, repair, and you have all these other benefits of that happening. So hacking and getting your sleep system down is super, super important. And I'm going to be doing some videos on this and what we do with the Magnetico sleep pad, the blocking of the non-native EMF radiation, which that pad helps to do, being grounded, all these types of things, and bringing plants and air purifiers. And I'm going to do a whole thing on our bedroom setup and pyramids and all the cool stuff. The scalar rest shield, and which we love. So where was I? Oh, I was back to the glasses. So there's a few different companies that offer glasses, and what I like about them, I would be remiss to only recommend one. There's a few of them, and I recommend getting glasses from all of them. One is called biohacked.com. They have the True Dark Daywalkers and the True Dark Twilight glasses, which block. There's like a patent pending thing. We don't get any financial compensation from them, although we should, because I really like what they're doing. But they're at biohacked.com, and I'll put a link to them in the show notes as well. Blue Blocks, which is the product that I have, I really like them as well. And we do receive a financial compensation, but I love supporting their work and the work that they do. I have their glasses. I use them every single night. And their daylight glasses are amazing as well. So if you're inside, in the daytime, I recommend you wear the yellow glasses that they offer. They offer some really cool yellow glasses. And what that helps to do is to block too much of the blue frequency. It allows in the other frequencies, so you're not getting tired. And you're blocking yourself from this damaging blue light. So think of blue light like you would eating McDonald's, right? That's an assault to your body, eating McDonald's or, I don't know, fast food of any kind, right? It's really, really an assault. It's the worst thing ever for people like us who are into diet and nutrition. But exposing yourself to blue light is just like that. It's no different than that. It's like when I tell people the same thing about, like, it does no good to be really, really have your diet on point. But when you go to a restaurant and they don't have the kind of food that you normally eat, and you fly off the handle, you get all angry and upset, and you start producing all these hormones in your body, and cortisol levels shoot through the roof, and your tension levels rise, your blood pressure rises, all of that stuff. I mean, it's counterintuitive, right? Why not just eat whatever they have at the restaurant and be okay with that? And so it's the same way with light. Allow yourself grace to move into this area of blocking blue light, because we do need to look at it like it is the number one thing, even above food and nutrition. In my research, this is what I'm finding, that light frequencies hitting the body is way more important than the food we eat. So when you stack good food with good light practices, man, you can really make a lot of leeway and headway on your health. So just look at artificial light as the worst junk food you could ever expose yourself to. And, just as an aside, a lot of people these days have Hashimoto's, thyroid issues. What part of their body is exposed to blue light frequencies that penetrate right into the skin there, right below the surface of the tissues, into your thyroid is when you're exposing your neck to blue light from the screens of cell phones. So this stuff runs really deep. So I highly recommend getting different glasses. I recommend going to all of these companies and buying a pair of two, because you want to have some for, some may be heavier than others, may give you a headache. Some may make you too tired. Some may block too much light. Some don't look stylish enough, so you have to wear another pair. So I recommend having, in the same way that you would have like at home, you want to have like your juicer and your blender and your oven, and get rid of your microwave, and you have a whole sort of kitchen setup. You want to have a whole light setup for yourself as well. So Swanwick Sleep is another page, a company that sells these glasses as well. The other one, which is kind of the cream of the crop, is Raw Optics, RAOPTICS.io. And I'll put a link to all four of those companies. And I recommend buying one or two glasses from each of them. Now, they could be expensive. The Blue Block ones I have, they're like $100. But this is going to be better than buying a juicer. It's going to be better than buying a blender. It's going to be better than anything else you could do this year. Investing in how your body responds to and adapts to light is the number one thing that we could do this year for our health. I'll also put a link to Amazon. We have a couple glasses there on Amazon. Oh, you know what I should do too? Let me add a couple links to this here. Amazon is the other one. Amazon and lowbluelights.com. Let's see. Low Blue Lights has some cool products where you can fit orange blocking glasses over your prescription glasses. I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, like, I have to wear glasses. And so one of the things you can do with a couple of the products at Low Blue Lights is you can fit your orange glasses over the top of your current prescriptions. So that allows you to still wear your prescriptions. I'm telling you, people will think you look crazy, but if you're at home at night and no one else is around, who cares, right? So this whole idea of blocking blue light and living more in accordance with nature is so fundamentally important. I highly encourage you guys to adopt some of these principles into your life, right? Do what you can to get more light on your skin, natural light, not even through glass windows. When you're driving in a car, roll your window down, because that's blocking some of the spectrums and the frequency that you need. And so that's damaging to your skin when you're allowing light to penetrate through a glass window, especially of doors and cars, into or right on your skin. So you want to open the window and get the actual sunlight, not filtered through anything. And get up in the morning, look towards the sun, and do that. Be grounded to the earth, breathe the fresh air, maybe listen to a meditation, something. Get outside and get full spectrum light, because ultimately what we are, like I said before, is light beings, right? It's our mitochondria that takes that light and creates energy from that light. And then it takes that energy and it allows the body to create new cells and to turn off cells that have a cancer process going on. Because cancer is a verb. It's something that we do. It's a lifestyle. We cancer ourselves. We don't get cancer. So it's important to work with light in that way, to turn off those genetic signals. Because a lot of times what people do is they focus on genetics, they focus on the genes, but it's more about the mitochondria. The mitochondria is what controls the genetic expression. So, man, I cannot recommend enough. I've been telling my parents this. I've been telling everyone I know, dude, get some sunglasses, get some blue blocking sunglasses, wear those, start with that. Find a pair you like. I'll put links to, those 6 places, extremehealthradio.com/560. Is that right? 560? Yeah, that's right. 560. And you can get those and start wearing those at night. Get this company called Iris. Download their software. I'm telling you guys, this Iris software, I used to use Flux, but now I use Iris, and Iris is orders of magnitude better than Flux. Flux didn't control the flicker rate of your screen, so the flicker rate alters your body's ability to regulate the different synapses in your eye. And it really affects our circadian rhythm. That flicker rate is really damaging. If you can see it if you watch a video. If someone takes a video of their TV, you can see the TV flickering. But when you're watching the TV itself, you don't see it flicker. So Iris helps to reduce the flicker rate as well. Flux didn't do that. Iris also allows you to completely reduce the red light, whereas Flux you can only take it down to about 1200 Kelvin, which is sort of mapping what the morning or the evening sun would be right at sunset, that orange color. But you can actually, in Iris, take it all the way down and completely get rid of all blue light altogether, which is what I do. And then Iris also allows you to reduce the brightness, because it's not just the frequencies, but it's also the brightness of light too, the lumen. So as the night progresses, you want to decrease the brightness, which is what I do. So if I'm working all the way up until 10 or 11 o'clock, every 20, 30 minutes, I'll reduce the brightness all the way up to the point where my screen almost looks black because all the blue light's gone, but then the brightness is down too. And then when I get up in the morning and I look at my computer, I took a picture of it this morning. It looks like black. I'll put it up on our Instagram so you can see it. But Iris is the only program that allows you to do that. Now, Iris is there's a free version and a paid version. So I recommended the paid version. It's $10. It's the best $10 you'll ever spend. You'll find dramatic impacts on your health, your sleep, and all of that. The paid version allows you to do way more, which is way more settings, advanced settings. You can go into biohacker mode and you can turn off all of the bright light and just use black. It's pretty impressive what it does. And so I recommend the paid mode is $10. I'm telling you guys that this light, I'm learning so much about the mitochondria, the biophotons, what do you call that? The electricity of the cell, the electrons, oxygen transport, longevity, and how light affects all of this. And light is the #1 source of all disease, is what I've been learning. Now, is that true? I don't know. I can't verify that, but I don't think there's any way for anybody to know. But that's what people are saying. I'm reading stuff, and high-level people, like Dr. Doug Wallace, high-level mitochondria person, is talking about blue light and its effect on the mitochondria. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Many people think he's going to win a Nobel Prize this year for his work with the mitochondria. He was the one that told us and that proved that mitochondria actually gets passed to us from our mom, not our dad. And our mom is the one who passes that on. And so, this guy's high-level stuff, right? I posted one of his videos to our Instagram account, Dr. Doug Wallace, out in Philadelphia. But, this blue light thing, I think we're going to learn more and more. So how can we now start using light to our advantage? It's one thing to protect us from all the bad stuff, right? That's only one side of the coin. That brings us from a -50 up to a baseline of 0. Now, how can we use light for our benefit? Now, red light is light that heals. So red light is the antidote for blue light. Red and purple is the antidote for the blue light. So what you want to start doing is start using red light therapy in your practice. And so there's red light therapy is incredible. And like I was saying before, I use red light therapy on my testicles at night. I'll lay on the IMRS machine. I'll give you my little right before bed routine. I lay on my IMRS mat, which is a mat that produces PEMF, which is pulsed electromagnetic fields, and that has a whole list of benefits itself. You can learn more about it on our store if you guys want to learn about the benefits of PEMF. But I'll lay on that for 16 minutes or 24 minutes if I have time, and I'll do red light therapy on my testicles, and then I will use the Rife machine, which, man, we've been having some really amazing things happen with the Rife machine. I love that machine. It's not available yet in our store because we haven't put it up yet, but it's an incredible device, and I really highly recommend looking at the Rife technology. But I'll use those three all at the same time. And red light is incredibly important. It's not as good as a fire where you're getting biophotons. Red light, you're going to get photons. But the frequency of light is so beneficial for you when it's in the red spectrum. This is why I like the far infrared sauna, because that's emitting a light frequency. And so that's another thing, a way that you can start utilizing light to your benefit is getting in that sauna, which is the invisible frequency of light. And you can start harnessing the benefits of what that does to your tissues and how that affects the electron transport of the mitochondrial cell. And it's just incredible. So red light therapy is amazing. And so you have to learn how to use it, what time of day to use it at, what body parts to use it at, how long to use it at, and all of that good stuff. And we're going to be exploring more about red light therapy. But, those are some ways that you can sort of mitigate the blue light and start bringing in these principles of using red light to your benefit. And, it's one of those things, it's like sometimes the most important things are the ones that are most overlooked, and, I think in the health and nutrition world, we're focused on genetics. We're focused on the biology of food and these types of things. But, sometimes it's the most important things that are the ones that we just kind of don't think about. So in terms of food, the number one food that I could recommend for you to mitigate blue light and non-native EMF is going to be DHA. So DHA, it actually helps create light in the body. It transports the light that we get into our mitochondria. And then the mitochondria turns that light into energy. And then it becomes light once again. And so it's like this cycle. And so DHA is incredible. It's the number one supplement that Kate is on right now, building our baby, because it's incredible for the nervous system. It's incredible for the brain. It helps to prevent the blue light. The blue light destroys melatonin, and it helps to prevent that. So it's really one of the most important ingredients or substances that you can ever get into your body is DHA. And a lot of people are eating seafood for that. There's been some controversy with the Fukushima and the radiation that's in our poisons in our oceans. So a lot of people don't like that. There's also the aspect of the rain, having too much acids in it, which causes, sea fish and, these types of things to have parasites in them, because it creates a unbalanced pH environment for them. And so if you look at different, fish are starting to have all kinds of parasites. So some people avoid that. I don't really eat too much seafood. I might start though, but a way around that is like where does, like fish get its DHA from? It gets it from algae, right? So a lot of times it's best to go to the source. So, there's a product that I like a lot. It's our friend Matt Blackburn. He was on the show recently. If you want to listen to the show we did with him, and he talks about DHA in there. So he creates it from the source. It's 50% DHA by weight. And so it's super clean. It's water extracted, and he puts it in Myron glass, which is incredible way of protecting the delicate molecules of DHA. So that's the one that Kate's on for her pregnancy, and we cannot recommend that enough. That's the number one nutrient for our nervous system, for our brain, for protecting us against non-native EMF, for protecting us against blue light. It's DHA. So MitoLife is the company that he has set up with that, and that's I think he's giving a 20% discount if you go through our link. So I'll put a little link to that if you guys are interested. It's the one I like. It's one I take. There's other sources. Obviously, you can get DHA in a lot of different sources, but I like to go right to the source, a vegan source, so you're not going too high up on the food chain. And I just love what he does and love his work. So I think it's also in our store as well. If you go to our store, actually that's where it is. If you go to our store, you'll see the different videos and stuff like that on MitoLife DHA. Super, super powerful. I'm super glad that Kate's on that as well. So that's my sort of rant on light. I think that's super, super important. I think that it's the number one thing. Some people are saying blue light exposure, this toxic light that we're exposed to, it is the number one cause of all disease. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I think all disease is a spiritual disease or a spiritual issue. I think that ultimately what it comes down to is there's a level above the physical, and that's the spiritual. And, there'd be no way for us to feel pain and to grow from that if we didn't have physical bodies. Earth is the place to learn spiritual lessons because it's the place where spirits have bodies and bump into one another and interact with one another and have to learn lessons. And without a physical body, the spirit can't learn anything. The spirit can't grow. You can't shoot a spirit. You shoot a ghost and nothing happens, but you shoot a person, and the person that gets shot, if they live, they have all kinds of different things and growth and all kinds of journey that they've been on as a result of that. So it's the physical body that has pain and disease. So ultimately, all disease is spiritual in nature, in my opinion. But on a physical level, it's light. Light is numero uno to mitigate that and to understand how it works and to start using it in a way that's benefiting you instead of stealing your life force, instead of aging you rapidly, instead of creating disease processes, lowering the voltage of the body and keeping you up and suppressing melatonin and blocking DHA and destroying DHA in the body. When you can start understanding how light works and start using it to your benefit, it's incredible. So light's not bad. Light's great, especially if you use certain frequencies of light and certain colors. So that's sort of what I'm kind of exploring more. And I'm going to be doing a whole thing inside the Academy of exactly how I do all this stuff and showing some videos. And eventually I'm going to get to that in the Academy. So if you guys are more interested in that, you can check it out at extremehealthacademy.com. And that's where we can dive deeper into all of these issues and learning how the body works and what to do if you have certain conditions, and we can support each other as a community. That's what the whole idea of the Extreme Health Academy came from, is that we get so many cool emails from people, even people that live close to one another, and we think, dude, these people need to meet each other. And so we're going to have a community forum in there with all of you amazing people, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to start interacting with you guys and to see you guys sharing things that are working and things that are not working, and your successes and your struggles, and supporting one another. This is what we really need, because, interaction is ideal. Physical interaction. We create light by looking at other people's eyes as well. And we create that interaction. And looking into someone's eyes is powerful. But when you can't do that, if we can have the ability to interact with each other, at least in a virtual environment in a community, and get that support, it's absolutely amazing. So I'm really excited about that. So that's where to go if you want to dive deeper into this stuff. And I'm going to be doing some trainings in there about what we do and show you guys our setup and the different lights that we use and different protocols I follow and the different glasses and how I use them and what to do when and all that kind of stuff I'll be covering in there. So that's what I really want to share with you, that light, we live off of light. And not just externally, but internally as well. What a lot of people don't realize is that when a cell dies, it creates a biophotonic flash, a burst of light. And it's that light frequency that the other cells use to live. So not just we live from the sun, but we also internally live as a result of cells dying and producing that light when they die. And there's studies showing that there is light produced by the gut and our bacteria. So we have all this light happening inside of our bodies, but we don't know how to use it. So it's really important to understand light. So that's my whole thing. I'm going to be getting more into this, as well as the Magnetico sleep pad and how that creates a powerful field, like 60 times, I think it's like 20 to 60 times the magnetic field of the earth. And it allows you to sleep in that field above your body. It surrounds you at night, and that helps to protect non-native EMF radiation from cell towers, from other people's wireless networks and stuff. And so I'm going to be getting into all this stuff during this 2018. I'm really excited about this because a lot of this stuff is so simple, guys. It's so simple. We all know how to do it. I'm not sure. Did I mention this already? That I watch a lot of documentaries, and I love learning. I love learning stuff. It's my passion to learn new concepts and ideas and apply them to my life. I'm not sure if I mentioned this on this episode or a recent one, but if you guys want to follow the different documentaries I watch, and a lot of the stuff that I watch is not health related. So they're just sort of documentaries I watch, and they're all about like the creation of money, conspiracy theories, different concepts, scientists, all kinds of, ancient civilizations and technology, all kinds of really cool stuff. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I'll put a link to where I watch documentaries, and every single day I add like 1 or 2 new ones there. So you can go through, you can learn about 9/11, you can learn about the Bilderberg Group, you can learn about success technologies from Bob Proctor, where you can learn about people like Elliot Hulse doing amazing things. You can learn about the Bilderberg Group and all these crazy things going on in the world. So I'll put a link to that as well. All right, so moving on to some listener questions. Gary writes in, he says, "Hey Justin, my wife wants to give our child the flu shot. Do you have a certain episode in mind or an article you recommend that can help me change her mind? Please let me know. Thank you, Gary." So that was cool, Gary. Yeah, I would recommend, if you go to the top of our website, we have a whole section on vaccines. And vaccines and flu shots are pretty similar in terms of the toxic effect it has on the body and the chemicals that are involved in both of those processes. So I'd recommend just going to our vaccine section, or there's episode 4 or 34 with Mary Toko and April Renee Toko, and they are doing a lot of work with vaccines. So I'd highly recommend doing that. And Gary, I hope, fingers crossed, that you did not get your child the flu shot. And if so, I hope that they made it through and everything is fine. All right, Heather writes in. She says, "Hey, Justin, I have been listening to your show for a while now. I have a question. I live in Houston and understand the mold in the air is extremely high. I'm certain I have mold wreaking havoc in my body. Do you have any suggestions how I can get it under control? Thanks so much." Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to mitigate that. There are devices that you can buy to help kill the mold. There's obviously moving to a new place or moving to a new area. Obviously, there's also understanding how the body works and fortifying your cellular matrix with nutrition that's going to help that. So I recommend all of those levels, building your immune system, all of that. We've done some shows on mold, which I can link to, and you can learn how to get your house tested for mold. There's certain specific tests that you want to do, not just the regular stuff that you get at the hardware store, but you want to go deeper. And we did a really great show with a gentleman. I forget what show is. I'll try to find the link and link it up in this episode. There's also air purifiers. The one we recommend is the Air Doctor Pro. That's the one that's in our store. That's the one we stand behind and we highly recommend to other people. But look into getting a good air purifier. Obviously you want to get that mold out of your house. So mold in the air is extremely high. So it doesn't, you don't say if you have it in your house. So, if you don't have it in your house, if it's just in the air, I would recommend, all of those things. Fortifying the body through nutrition. I would recommend the light, making sure that your light is under control so that your immune system's working properly. You're not producing too much cortisol. I'd recommend bringing plants into your life. I will put a link to what plants. There's a series about 6 different types of plants that I would recommend that you bring into your bedroom, to your home, as part of Daniel Vitalis's rewilding strategies, bringing that bit of nature back into your house. A lot of those, like the plants like the bamboo palm, is really, really powerful for helping remove formaldehyde. The snake plant I know is really good. It helps to reduce or absorb, I should say, nitric oxide as well as formaldehyde. I know a lot of people use the Erica palm and the spider plant. I know the peace lily is really good for that. So I would look into these things. I would look into bringing these types of things into your home. I know the Gerbera daisy is also really good. So look into this kind of stuff and bringing plants and air purifiers into your house. There's also these charcoal little pillows. I'll put a little link to that. There's these charcoal pillows that I like a lot, that you can get and put them in your bedroom environment, that reduces and absorbs VOCs, volatile organic compounds. And so there's all kinds of strategies that you can use. So hopefully that helps, Heather, and get you started on the right path there. And Ben from Thailand says, this is a little bit longer one. He says, hello, Justin, I listened to episode 11 and I'm quite confused and would like you to look to this email. Do I understand well that EMF towers are not for functioning for mobile phones and internet, but are weapons? Weapons against who and weapons used by who? All over the world we see these towers. Are these all weapons to use by all these countries? To me, it sounds unbelievable that all the different countries in the world use these weapons against all the people in each country. Like I also hear that in each flat screen TV there should be a camera in use by the CIA. This would be easily made clear by checking into this. I do not believe that this is true. Why you do not take care that if a person you interview has proof about the things they say. This is so confusing. I'm not even sure what you're saying here. I'm not happy with the radiation of these towers, but do you have information how to stop that radiation? I hear something about a zapper. Could you give me a link to get more information on where to buy this product? I love the information you give, but about weapons, EMF towers, and CIA and TVs, I have my doubts. What are your thoughts about that? Thank you for your answer. Yeah, I'll put a link to the zapper, Ben from Thailand. I didn't quite catch your question there. It's a little bit, I couldn't understand how you worded that, but I think basically what you're saying is that the flat screen TVs have cameras in them, and these cell towers are used as weapons, and you're not seeing any proof of that. And yeah, you're right. We should be able to take apart our smart TVs and look and see if they are, if there's cameras in them. That would be pretty well established, I think. I did see an interesting photo the other day of Mark Zuckerberg sitting at his computer, and he had his camera covered in the background, which is pretty interesting. Do I have my camera covered on my computer? I do. Do I believe that they're spying on me? I don't think so, but I don't want them to. So these are all things to look at. Don't let them sort of take your power away. It doesn't really matter our belief about these things. It really doesn't. What matters most is that we protect ourselves, and that we do the things in our life that help us become a better person, which is what you're asking about the zapper. I will put a link to that as well. Let me do that right now. So that's basically it, Ben. I hope that was helpful for you. I thank you guys. We're going to have Kate on here pretty soon. We're going to do a 2017 recap. We're going to talk about her pregnancy and the things that we're doing aside from DHA, the MitoLife DHA, some cool new things that are coming in 2018. So we'll be talking about a lot of really cool things. And I want to share with you on an upcoming show some of the different therapies and different things that I do every single day that I think is really, really important. And so I think it's really important to have a strategy of things, health practices that you do every day, and stack as many of them together as you possibly can. And so there are so many different health strategies that are out there, and I do some. Obviously, I can't do all of them, but there's so many different things like sauna therapy, which is what I do. I do the rebounder every day with our Bellicon rebounder. Both of those are available in our store. The PEMF therapy, stretching, inversion, elongating the spine and bringing oxygen and nutrients and blood flow back into the spine, skin brushing, juicing, meditation, urine therapy, light therapy with photobiomodulation, neck exercises, grounding, sun exposure, vibration, all these types of things you can do every single day. But then there's also other things too, like you can do cold bath therapy, cold thermogenesis, you can do yoga, you can do intermittent fasting. I do that. You could do the coffee enema and rectal ozone therapy. You can do the chi machine, the vibration plate, all these types of things you can do. But man, I mean, the list goes on and on and on of different things you could do. Cryotherapy, float tank, vitamin injections, massage therapy. You can do liver colon cleanses, heavy metal cleanses. You can do lung cleanses. You can do acupuncture, ultraviolet blood irradiation. You can do chelation. You can do colonics. You can do a fast every change of the season. You could do stem cell therapy. You could do hyperbaric oxygen therapy. You can do combo. You can do acupuncture. You can do Rolfing. There's so many different things. So I think it's important to write all this stuff down and have it, have like a daily, weekly, monthly, and a yearly strategy. of when you do these things. And it'd be kind of cool to put together a list. If you guys are interested in putting together a list that you can sort of create your own list and what works best for your schedule, let me know. Because that's something I'm considering putting into the Extreme Health Academy. So I think it would be really cool for all of us to be able to pick and choose some of these things that work best for our lifestyle. And then you can just use them and start adding and stacking certain things together when you know what they do. So it's all kinds of cool stuff, right? So those are some things that I wanted to share with you on the next episode, but there's so many other ones too. I'm just looking at this list I created. Wow, there's so much here. Yeah, I'm going to have to do another episode here with you guys, but thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular show on light and how to mitigate the effects of light. Make sure the first couple things you should do is go and download Iris, either the free version or the paid version if you want. And then go to one of those 6 places or all 6 and get different pairs of blue blocking sunglasses. And then start there and then move into buying some salt lamps and then buying some orange bulbs for your house if you want to go that far with it. But start with the Iris and start with the blue blocking sunglasses. And that's going to make a huge, huge impact on your health. And then what I want you to do is to get out in the sun every single day, more and more and more. Because we're learning that we're much more, electric. We're much more spiritual. We're much more emotional. Those are the components that are much more important than our physical body. So start introducing full spectrum sunlight without sunglasses on, without shoes on, and start utilizing these things that are so easy to do. So that's the prescription for today. Go download Iris and then go go buy some of those glasses. And both of those links to those are going to be, I'll put them at the top of the show notes at extremehealthradio.com/560. Start there and then start moving up to fireplaces at night, salt lamps, orange bulbs, that kind of thing. So that's your prescription. Tag me on Instagram or tag me on Twitter. Let me know. Do an @tag too, so I get a notification so I can see what you guys are doing. I just want to let you guys know too that we are doing a free challenge every single month with prizes. So this month the prizes are: first place is a Vitamix blender, second prize is a Berkey water filter, and the third prize is a 30-day supply of Organifi green juice powder. And we're going to be doing these every single month, these challenges. They'll be anywhere from 7 to 21 days in length. They're free to anyone to join. And each month there's going to be different prizes and different challenges. And they're designed to help you guys start implementing new healthy lifestyle practices. And so rewards are great too. And so what we do at the end of the challenge is, it's really cool. We have a webinar with Dr. John Bergman, and we talk about the challenge. We talk about, we answer questions. We go deeper into some of these practices. And then at the end of the webinar, that's free also, we read the winners of the challenge. So you get to find out who wins the challenge. So you got to be on the webinar for that. So those are free challenges. Are going to happen every single month. And we've been getting a lot of people asking questions about not being able to do certain things. So the way the challenge works is that there's about 4 things that you can do that are one-time things, like sign up to our newsletter or like us on Facebook or whatever. There's about 4 different things to do. You can only do those once, but then every single day there's actions you can take by uploading a photo to Instagram, to I think Twitter and Facebook, and you @tag us and use a hashtag. You upload the picture to your account, and then you go back to extremehealthchallenge.com, and then you click on the little icon that says select a photo from your feed. And then you can select a photo because it'll show up because it has that hashtag already there. So that's kind of how the challenge works. But it's free to do, and you can do these things every single day. And it really, really helps to build a community around some really awesome people. So it's a lot of fun, and it's going to help you get healthier, to start implementing some disciplines into your life. And, we could all use that. And there's prizes and there's a community. So, it's really cool. extremehealthchallenge.com. So I'll put a link to the challenge, to the Extreme Health Academy, all of that. All you got to do is remember 560. extremehealthradio.com/560, and I'll put a link to everything on that page. So anyway, we've got some great guests coming up. We're going to be talking with Luke Story coming up. We're going to do a show with Kate about pregnancy and some of the things that are happening behind the scenes here. We're going to be talking about water with Patrick Durkin. We're going to be talking about cancer and the brilliant work of Dr. Nasha Winters out there in Colorado. She's doing some work on cancer that will blow your mind. So all this stuff is coming up. Make sure to subscribe to our show. That way you see all of the upcoming shows coming up. And we'd appreciate it too. If you like the show, like what we're doing, sign up to our newsletter. And you can do that at extremehealthradio.com. There's places for that. We would appreciate that. Pass the show on to your friends. We would appreciate that. And what else? Thank you guys for your support on Patreon. A number of you support us on Patreon, and that helps us tremendously. So we appreciate that so much. It's like giving, $1 or $2 or $5 a month. That helps us continue our work. And then, thank you guys for your support on Amazon too, for purchasing through our Amazon link and thinking of us, every time you make a purchase there on Amazon, going to our website and clicking